When talking about Atlanta Falcons training camp storylines, of course, we had to have two on the defense because there are a lot of questions defensively. We just did the defensive line. Now moving to what I would argue could be an even bigger hole, which is not usually what you're talking about with the Falcons. It's usually all about the defensive line, but it's AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, which are two unbelievable players, right? Pro Bowl, all pro, like whether they're right there, they're, tops at their positions, right? And then it's just like,
it's easy to pick on a fish in a secondary in the NFL. It's very easy for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you have one, I mean, listen, let's just go back.
Let alone one.
Let's go back to 2016 and what Tom Brady did to Jalen Collins, right? Like, if you have one guy out there that is just cannot guard anybody on their team, then it's like, it doesn't matter what AJ Terrell does. It doesn't matter what Jesse Bates does. Like, it doesn't matter. And
let alone three positions.
Let alone the fact that DeMarco Hellams, like, is he going to be starting? He's 7. He showed some promise. Don't get me wrong, but like, is that what we're relying on? Richie Grant, is he even going to be on the team? Like, if Richie Grant has a bad training camp, like, he might not even be on the roster. So like, I don't even know who the backup quarterback. And then you go to cornerback, it's like Clark Phillips. Like, yeah, he had a couple of good games. D. Alford, undrafted free agent. Like D. Alford, for some reason he lost his job. Don't really know what happened there last year, but but it's just it is bleak.
Yeah, and the reason why you and I and a lot of Falcons fans are pessimistic more so about the secondary than the defensive line. Both are filled with unproven guys. Like, both are the same in that. But the defensive line at least has guys who you could believe in / you could squint and see and be like, they could turn into a guy. The secondary doesn't really have those guys. Like Clark Phillips, like the highest drafted guy in the secondary that is projected to maybe take a leap is a 5th round pick in Clark Phillips. Now, he showed some chops, absolutely, like you mentioned. But if you go back and look at that Saints game, Chris Olave made him look like he didn't belong on the same football field. And granted, Chris Olave is one of the better receivers in this league, but it's not like you're going to go up against bad receivers every single week. And you're Clark Phillips. And that's the most important thing, is that, like, when you're talking about a defensive lineman, yeah, you can run at them, but generally speaking, you have more protection from your linebacker units. Obviously, playing next to David Onyemata and Grady Jarrett's going to help a ton, and playing next to Jesse Bates in the secondary is going to help a ton. But as a cornerback, you will get picked on. And if a quarterback sees you and you're the fish in the secondary, you're going to get picked on all game long, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just the way the NFL has kind of, transitioned over the years in this pass happy league. Our cornerback to battle right now is Clark Phillips and Mike Hughes. And no disrespect to those guys, but they're probably not starting caliber cornerbacks in this league. And then you got D. Alford, and I don't care where you come from. If you can play, you can play. And he's an undrafted free agent, showed he could play a little bit, and then got benched. I don't understand what that's about. I'm hopeful he can, secure the nickel spot and be that guy for the entirety of the season. But let's just paint, Chase, the ideal scenario, I guess, for what happens in the secondary. You got your 2nd round pick in Richard Grant finally comes along, and he's the guy next to Jesse Bates. Clark Phillips secures that one boundary spot opposite AJ Terrell, and then D. Alford is the nickel spot. One injury to Jesse Bates or to AJ Terrell, and you are starting a secondary that is reminiscent, and I know Falcons fans remember this, that 2016 NFC Championship, that Green Bay Packers secondary that Julio Jones made look like Pee-wee. That's what we're looking at. Guys who, this is not a postseason secondary.
Let's just call a spade a spade. The odds that everybody in the secondary
That's if
healthy,
everything works out. And there will be an injury. There will be an injury.
It's almost a guarantee that Jesse Bates or AJ Terrell misses a game or two here or there, right? And if that happens,
and what if it's the Saints week or the Bucks week?
You're chalking up a little L. Like you might as well just hold up an L. You might as well not even show up to the football arena. Like, so I think that's where the frustrations lie with a lot of Falcons fans, is the fact that they, not just the defensive line, because they at least drafted some guys.
At least the defensive line has guys that you can squint and see.
Secondary, they just
went unaddressed,
completely ignored, and they're trying to tell you you're trying to win a division. Yeah. And it's like, how are you trying to win a division with that? So we've talked about it several times, and we keep saying it over the offseason. Hey, maybe another one's coming. Well, hopefully something happens during training camp, because, hey, additions do happen. There's plenty of guys out there, and I'm not asking for you to go out there and trade for a Pro Bowler, but get these young guys some help. Don't leave them out on an island to get embarrassed, and this entire organization get embarrassed in the 1 year you're trying to win the division. So hopefully we get some help.